The most finishes in UFC history with 20. Stopping every top 5 contender in UFC as of right now. A victory over Islam Makhachev makes Charles Oliveira the greatest lightweight of all time.
Yeah. But here's the thing, man. Like, I love what Charles has done, and I really do think that it deserves a lot of credit. But this is not me just saying it's my teammate, right? I just think that if there's anything that hurts Khabib Nurmagomedov's case, is that the longevity wasn't there in terms of the title reign. But those same guys that Charles beat, he did beat.
But then, of course, if you're talking about the greatest of all time, going undefeated, having the belt, walking away from it the way he did against the people that he did, I would think, yeah, you still got to have a slight edge to Khabib. But if Charles continues and gets that belt back yet again against the protege of Khabib in Islam, then I think we're talking it could shift.
People start comparing him to Khabib. Well, Khabib's never been knocked down. He's never seen his own blood. I'm like, yeah, that's impressive. But if we're talking about like who I'm gonna go want to spend my money to watch, I think that's a no-brainer. I'm gonna go spend my money to watch Charles Oliveira. But I think when you compare the two resumes, one has been fighting so much more and almost has double the amount of fights.
That's true.
So it's like you risk the biscuit multiple times, way more than this other person. We're going by a strictly numbers game. If you roll the dice more times on bets, you're more likely to lose than the guy who takes less chances in the sense of like opportunities and stepping in there and putting it all on the line.
You know, this GOAT conversation, it becomes such a, it's not factual. It becomes very opinionated. Yes.
Yeah.
Is Khabib the lightweight GOAT? He's got the record. He's 29-0. He's got the unblemished, perfect record. But where I get upset when people try to make the comparison with Charles is they're like, well, he's lost 9 times. I'm like, well, Charles Oliveira got in the UFC shortly after he hit puberty.
Even in his fights, bro, like even before his fights, before he doing this killer, he was always a killer, bro. He just needed to figure it out, and I think he figured it out, and you know, it's sick, bro. It's exciting to see, bro, especially with him not getting that direct rematch, which I thought was like kind of weird, but you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and hey, he can't be denied.
That's something that seems to have come over the last, since this new kind of title run, to be honest, because he was not a knockout artist. I think when you look at Charles Oliveira today, this man is capable of knocking anybody out. A great Thai boxer, vicious in the clinch. Of course, we know about the jiu-jitsu.
Right.
But now this guy, and he knows it, and he believes in it, and you can see that from the way that he fights, the way he walks people down from the opening bell. He truly believes in himself, and he's willing to take those risks, willing to put himself in harm's way to be able to land this shot. And that is what makes me such a fan of this guy.
He's so exciting to watch. There's a reason why he's exciting to watch too. Like, obviously, you know, this isn't ever shot in. I've got a lot of respect for him, but you know, I think a lot of people miss that. They miss the fact that he takes damage. You know, he loses a good portion of these big, exciting fights. That's why they're exciting. But yeah, it's very fun.
Watch him walk people down every single time he goes in there. He got dropped in the Gaethje fight. He got dropped by Michael Chandler. He got dropped by Dustin Poirier. And he just got dropped and finished. It doesn't affect the way he fights at all, which is insane for the people at home. Like, anytime someone gets dropped or they get buzzed real bad on their feet or they get knocked out, there's a little bit of a gun shyness that comes with that later on down the road, where you don't want that to happen again. You get worried about it. He's like, yeah, I got dropped and finished in my last fight. So you know how I'm gonna start this one? The exact same way.
He is hittable. He is a little bit reckless. He's very exciting, but he's got this chaotic flow state of fighting, which has been able to overwhelm, 33 opponents. Because the thing is with Charles Oliveira, he's got so many facets to his game that I feel like he can exemplify any one of them and capitalize on it against a lot of these fighters.
Honestly, like a lot of like media try to make like drama. I'm very happy for this guy because he from a very poor life, and he lose a lot of fights in UFC, but he never give up. He can come back. Right now, look at where he is. He beat a lot of tough guys. He finisher. He have a lot of records in UFC. I'm very happy for him.
Yep. So I mean, he's fantastic, man. Like I said, he's got the most submissions in the UFC history. I think he's going to continue on for quite a while. He's got, I mean, he's extremely marketable. I said this when he fought Islam, and I say it again when he fought Beneil. If your kids are looking for role models, I mean, the two of them, Beneil, Charles, Islam, like those three guys seem to represent Dustin Poirier. Like they seem to represent their weight class in the sport at the highest level and with respect, and I love it.
And if you look at how that guy turned his career around, from like 2016 to today, he's a completely different fighter. What he has accomplished in the last however many years it's been is unbelievable. What is it, like 7-8 years? I mean, it's amazing what he's done. And I'm excited for him and Islam to fight again.
Charles Oliveira is so fucking fun to watch. Dangerous on the feet, dangerous on the ground. There is very, very, very few people in this sport that can do that. Charles versus Islam Makhachev 2 in Abu Dhabi. That's kind of what sounds like Dana's planning. We got to remember though, it's not like Islam just took Charles down and he dropped him. He dropped him, passed his guard, and choked him. There was a very dominant performance for Islam. So
That's
Charles,
levels
for Charles to come, he seems fired the fuck up, motivated, ready to go. Islam's coming off a very controversial win over Alexander Volkanovski. Charles coming off a dominating win over Beneil Dariush. Very interesting fight. That's what I want to see next at 55. I don't really care to see anyone else. I want to see Charles versus Islam 2.
I also openly admit have underappreciated the star power of Charles Oliveira. To watch that Canadian crowd treat him the way that they treated him. When he's doing an interview in Portuguese and having the interpreter, you never hear a loud pop from the crowd when there's an interpreter. Well, they did for Charles. I gotta give him that.
I mean, that man's a star. That man's a superstar. What he's doing, the way that he's fighting, and the way that he's really now showing who Charles Oliveira really is. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, he's some man. He really is.
Guys, Charles Oliveira is an absolute savage. Under the brightest lights, the biggest opportunity, the title eliminator to get him back to a title shot. The way that he fought at UFC 289, the dude looks like he is coming back for that title. I think the biggest thing that needs to be said about this performance, this is a title eliminator. This is Charles Oliveira staking his claim that I am one of the best lightweights on the planet.
You know, Islam thinks that he's just a bad matchup for Charles. He feels like even though Charles goes out there and fights everyone else and beats everyone else, every time that they come together, he feels like he has the style to beat him.
But I think he don't want to fight with me because I give him always hard time. What he can do? His grappling not working with me. I'm not scared his grappling. He know I can finish him again. He know I can knock him out. He know because this bad match for him.
I've seen a lot of jiu-jitsu in my days. I've rarely seen anyone compete in MMA that closes the show like Oliveira when the fight goes to the ground. His shit is razor sharp. Razor sharp.
Oliveira is probably one of the best in the game at wrapping up those submissions mid-fight. And his instincts on when to attack him is phenomenal. He knows when they're on and when they're not, so he won't overly invest into them.
And it'd be cool to see Charles beat Islam and then draw Khabib out of retirement for the mega fight. The lightweight supremacy. This settles the score. Who is the best of all time?